So I've always had a soft spot for Samsung laptops. I use a lot of their other products, like their phones, TVs especially, but these are two of their newest ones. So this is the new Samsung Galaxy Book 5 Pro, as well as the 5 360, and you can swap that Pro name between models. You can get like the 5 Pro 360, or you can just get the base Galaxy Book 5. The final spec really depends on what your typical workflow or how you use it. I've been using both to kind of mix and match, interchange between my life over the past couple weeks. Sometimes Samsung laptops are slept on. They've honestly been some of my favorites, especially if you happen to have or use one of their phones, other products within like the ecosystem. Like personally, I paired it with the new Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra and the Galaxy Z Flip 7. Shoutouts to the flip phones. They just work together better. The big differences here are the 360, which naturally this one opens up 360 degrees, or just their regular laptop. So I'm gonna kind of talk about the 360 first. I typically don't use this as much, but what I know that this is great for, if you happen to be an artist, someone that likes to use this in tablet form, say after a busy day, you want to flip it into tent mode, watch any sort of content, this is a really cool form factor to use. It's got a wider aspect ratio, so it does have a full keyboard, and if you are someone that likes the full numpad, you get that in this extra size. It's 16:9, so if you are watching a lot of content, whether that's YouTube, Netflix, whatever it may be, it just fits the aspect ratio better. Less black barring compared to, say, the Galaxy Book 5 Pro. If you want, you still have the option to use it, say, in portrait. I'm not like a big coder or someone that can take full advantage of that. This is really like use case specific, but as an example, something that I figured out at my own house, when I had this out, we're doing some like interior design work, bringing up some renders of my current new spot, kind of moving around the couch on this. I was able to share this with my interior designer. We were both kind of looking at it because it can go all the way flat. That's obviously 180 degrees, and that hinge can go all the way up, and you never need to worry about this breaking. It has a bit more like longevity and durability because that hinge is so much stronger and can go all the way around. But like I said, if you are into that design space, artists, architects, someone that can fully utilize this display and that hinge, obviously, once again, depends how you spec it. So this is with the Intel Core Ultra 7, so they're higher spec. This also has 16 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. This has that extra power to run those rendering programs or things like AutoCAD, which once again are out of my scope. I just like to look at my house and some of my drawings on it, but that is what the 360 is for. This one has always been my favorite, just the standard Galaxy Book 5 Pro. It's in a smaller form factor. This is their 14-inch option. You can also spec that in the 16, just depending on what you use it for. But the portability, it's always been a bit thinner than the 360 model, just because it doesn't have that extra hinge. So if you are someone that is on the go all the time, which I tend to be, just putting this into your bag, carrying it around is just a bit easier. You can see it's a bit thinner, a bit more portable. They're actually close to the same height, but because of the screen size difference, obviously 14 versus 16, as well as that aspect ratio difference, we have the extra little bit on the 360. So it really depends what you're gonna use it for. Like I said, when I kind of carry this around, it's just a bit lighter to use. I like the traditional form factor, and I am just not skillful enough to use anything related to painting, drawing, anything stylus. I suck. I am not an artist. And even though both displays are AMOLED panels, this one has a higher resolution. So this one is 2880 by 1800. That's 3K. It's honestly one of the best panels that I've used on a laptop. It crushes what we have on the competition side. And just like the black levels, they are nice, dark, and deep. You can see all the detail in the shadows, even with something as simple as my wallpaper. It is just so nice to look at. Once again, even if you're watching content on this, it still looks great. And since I'm just not watching content when you're doing stuff like browsing, that's where the 16 by 10 is just a bit better. You get more on your screen. So that's typically like my workflow. As say like a new dad, I am crushing my Google Calendar. My days and even like minutes are kind of figured out to a T. And an actually like really handy use of AI that I've personally discovered. So I can use Recall. My wife sends me like baby info all the time, and sometimes it's a bit hard to keep track of with everything going on in my life. I can now just kind of recall that, just finding old info, even though I haven't saved it. It's technically been on my computer at some point, and then I can just literally recall it at any time. And of course, you can use this to ask Copilot questions, which I honestly don't use too much personally. Really surprised with how well Recall worked for my normal stuff. If any any of you guys use like AI in your workflow? Let me know. Like, is it more just the chat GPT stuff? Have you really embraced AI, which you kind of see that in every single product, not just laptops. AI is not even like the buzzword. It's just the new norm now. But for my regular day-to-day creator stuff, so say even for content that we've shot for this, social media clips, especially if you spec the Pro model, it handles those heavier lifting tasks way better. I've been learning to color correct a bit better in DaVinci Resolve, but even this last car photo shoot that I shot with some of my own personal vehicles was editing them all on Lightroom. Very creator-based tasks. I've been able to crunch everything really well, but maybe the biggest surprise for me for this laptop has honestly been the battery life. So this one, the Galaxy Book 5 Pro gets up to 25 hours. That's typically video watch time, whereas the Galaxy Book 5 360, because it's a bit larger, gets up to 31 hours. But even if you are untethered completely throughout the day, you can use it and then maybe just charge it overnight. It has been really, really reliable. And I know that a lot of other Windows PCs claim like all-day battery life, but they just kind of fall short. The Samsung one has really been good for me. But going through the rest of the design, like I said, nice thin profile. You can just grab it in the one color option. It's in this nice metallic gray. We've got the small Samsung logo. On that side, you've got USB-A as well as a micro SD card slot. Great if you use like GoPro footage, transferring footage from say like my drone. I would love to see a full-size SD card slot, just being a creator, like I said. And on the other side, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports as well as HDMI 2.1 to kind of wrap out. You've got the speaker grill on the bottom, which once again, speakers sound good. We actually have a redesigned trackpad this year, so there's more palm rejection, more precision on it, makes it one of the better trackpads that I've used. Nice and firm, no weird flex, decent amount of travel on the keys, and something that people don't really know as much about creators, you are on like your email client, which I happen to use Outlook for whatever reason, a lot of the day, whether that's corresponding between brands, typing out briefs, just having a comfy typing experience is always nice. One thing that I actually liked about the 360 was the extra room for the numpad. Managing finances is another big thing that I do for my business. So if you want that versatility, it's there. And it's also available on the larger 16-inch Galaxy Book 5 Pro as well. And that other thing that I mentioned at the beginning, if you happen to have other Samsung products. So I've been using their Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra as an example. That seamless connectivity between devices. Obviously they update between both. You can share notes, transfer files, calendars if you use one of their phones. For example, I've got the Galaxy Z Flip 7. You can even use the tablet as a second screen if you want. But let me know your thoughts on the Galaxy Book 5 Pro or even the 5 360. Which option would you go for? I know that there's a lot of Samsung fans out there, but if you're not, don't sleep on these devices. It's been cool kind of taking these through my new updated life. Everything from, 2 a.m. playing the happy song out of the laptop to managing my workflows to even just enjoying some downtime. I know that I've crushed a couple games on here, just, something simple like MapleStory, not AAA titles, but it can kind of do a bit of everything. But yeah, I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.